Advice I would give my younger self as a fertility doctor now. Hi friends, I am Dr. Natalie Crawford. I'm a board certified OBGYN and fertility doctor. And today I want to dive in advice I would give my younger self. So now that I have all this education, I know so much about the reproductive system in the body, I realize how terrible health education and sex ed really is back when I was younger. This is advice that I would give my younger self if I could go back. So advice from a fertility doctor. A quick request. If you like this content, this channel exists to educate about fertility, health, hormones, and your body. And if you want to be a part of that, please subscribe. Subscribing to the channel helps my information get to more people, and that really, really matters. I also want to announce that I have a fertility course, Enhance Your Natural Fertility. So this is all the stuff that I really wish that I knew or my patients knew at a younger age, diving into the science and the whys and understanding how your body functions on a really deep level. In addition, getting community and support and your questions answered. So feel free to check it out because it launches on August 8th and the price increases. All right, so what do I wish I knew when I was younger? Number one, your period is a vital sign. Your period is actually telling you about your body and how your hormones work, and it's important to understand it. And if something's off in your period, you should seek medical care. Period was such a taboo word, I would never want to bring it up, and I would have been mortified to talk about it with a doctor when I was younger. But I understand now this is a normal process for anybody who has a uterus. And so talking about your period should have no shame. We should be able to talk about it openly. So your regular period should be one that comes regularly, meaning predictably within a few days of itself every month. Cramps can be normal, but they shouldn't restrict you from your daily activities. And you shouldn't be soaking your clothes. Like you shouldn't be bleeding through your clothes. And if those things are happening, you shouldn't be afraid to get medical help. This is why so many of us have dedicated our lives to reproductive health in general. And so get an appointment with an OBGYN and try to lessen the shame about talking about your period and your body. Number two, the things that you're exposed to matter. I was a plastic water bottle drinking fool. And so, oh my God, it was so gross. I'd leave in my car and they would get hot, and I used so many disposable ones, and that's bad for the environment too. But I would go back and say, hey, we really need to limit our exposure to plastics. These chemicals that are in our products are not regulated at all. And that can have lasting impacts on our health in a multitude of ways, but our hormones too. Many of these chemicals are EDCs or endocrine disrupting chemicals. They can mess up our endocrine system, which is how our hormones communicate to each other. So I would rid my kitchen of plastic. I would not drink out of any plastic water bottles. I would never heat up any plastic or saran wrap in the microwave, y'all. Did you used to do that? Hopefully you don't still do that. I know my grandma does, but no heating up saran wrap in the microwave, no putting plastics in the dishwasher, and no Teflon. Teflon has PFCs, which are forever chemicals in them. So I would be mindful about the products that I come into. So I'd be mindful about the products that I interact with and try to limit my exposure to these harmful chemicals. Number three, you shouldn't feel bad after you consume food all the time. I wish I had listened to my body at an earlier stage of my life. It took me a long time to realize that some of the GI problems or the bloating or the headaches was actually related to some of the food I was consuming. And so that may not be you, but you shouldn't be feeling bad. You really shouldn't be having stomach or digestive issues all the time. And these foods that you eat actually can impact your fertility also because of inflammation. Inflammation is a normal response of the body when it's trying to heal. And so if you're putting in foods that are hard to digest, that have high levels of pesticides in them, that have made-believe chemicals in them, not real foods, these made-believe things in the processed food, I lived on the processed foods. Give me a box of Lucky Charms, I could have eaten it every day. Those aren't good for you. Those are not normal foods. That's not how our body is meant to function. And when you get an inflammatory reaction afterward, it's really normal to have headaches, fatigue, bloating, not be able to sleep well, not be able to focus, and all this GI disturbance. Those are signs that your body is actually being inflamed. And chronic inflammation is so bad for us. I wish if I could go back, I would say, hey, Nat, that's not how you're supposed to feel. Please put better things in your body. And I would eat more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and the things that our bodies are meant to have and that are better for us to digest and that aren't as bad, causing inflammation inside our gut and our whole body. Number four, girl, you do not need to drink every day. I mean, I'm almost ashamed to admit that I grew up in a culture where alcohol is so socially acceptable and everybody would drink every single day. And in college, I would drink every day and for a long, long time afterward. And I liked it, but I also didn't really know any different. And when I stopped drinking that often, I realized how hard it is for your body to constantly be challenged with alcohol. It's just a toxin that's so socially acceptable. It's not that you have to avoid alcohol altogether, but I wish it was one of those things that was more sparingly or on occasion or at least on the weekend and not every single day. Like, give your body time to heal. And then never smoke. Like, there's no reason to smoke. I'm not a big smoker. Marijuana is not my thing, but I know I've been around smoke a lot and I never thought twice about it. But even secondhand smoke exposure can decrease your egg count, it can decrease your egg quality, and can impact your fertility. So I would totally get rid of smoke. Number five, I would not be afraid to. Number five, I would absolutely make sure I could reduce my risk of sexually transmitted infections no matter what, no matter what. So, condoms 100% of the time until you're in a long term committed relationship, and then frequent STI testing. Chlamydia can just destroy and damage your fallopian tubes. And I had no idea about this. And I can't tell you how many people I see that have totally damaged fallopian tubes and need to get pregnant with IVF and had no idea that one time they didn't use a condom, that they got this little infection and they took pills for it, seemed like no big deal, but it actually caused immense internal damage. So, condoms, 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 please protect yourself against STIs. Number seven, I would make sure that I got some sleep. I've really lived that burn the candle at both ends mentality for way too long. I think a lot of us who are in medicine did that because we felt like it's what was required to get through college and med school and residency. And yes, there's time periods where you have to work these 30-hour shifts and you can't sleep, but I would get a more consistent sleep schedule earlier on. What I realized is for so long, I thought I felt bad maybe because of other causes, but I was really like sleep hungover. Like my body needed more sleep and you can't function. We have good studies showing you can't function as well. Your brain's not as sharp and you're not going to be as productive as you could be if you're not sleeping. We also have good data, not just that infertility or fertility issues can cause sleep abnormalities, which we've thought for a long time, but that not sleeping can actually disrupt your normal processes. So the circadian rhythm, healing overnight, having good melatonin, that's actually really important for your HPO axis, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the ovaries. And this is the brain and ovary control system that makes all of our hormones and allows us to ovulate and to eventually get pregnant. And so I would prioritize my sleep. I'd go to bed at a regular time and I would get up in the morning at a regular time. And I wish I had done that when I was younger. Number eight, I would make a game plan for my fertility. I really fell into the category. If I was younger, I would tell you this was a goal. Like, I want to have kids, of course, but I never gave a second thought to when or how many I wanted. And then when I started having infertility and pregnancy loss, I was overwhelmed by how much information I didn't know. And I didn't have the availability to freeze my eggs because that wasn't available. I'm a little too old for that. But I wish I had, or I wish I had at least thought about it. Should I have started trying earlier? Should we have made a different game plan? It all worked out in the end for me, but I really think that that's something I wish I could have thought about. When should we start trying? And if we're not ready to try, what should we do about preserving our fertility? And then also, could we have gotten checked earlier in the process before we went through all of these losses? Would that have made a difference for us? I don't know, but just putting it out there that thinking about your fertility as a goal is really important when it comes to what you should do next. I see too many people aimlessly waiting until they're ready to start their family, and we may be at an advanced age and have difficulty that we could have prevented by the choices that we make earlier or by at least thinking about a plan. And number nine, I would tell myself that you don't have to do everything. Stress matters in how your body functions. Chronic stress also can cause inflammation and a variety of other problems. And I want you to be able to take things off your plate that do not bring you joy. You don't have to say yes to everything. You can focus in on the things that matter and say no without any guilt or without that disappointing people mentality. So I would say, hey, I need a good way to manage stress, and I need to be able to set boundaries and live life in a way that you're really making choices that serve the things that bring you joy. And my last one, number 10, would be exercise. Exercise is so good for you, and exercise not to lose weight. Don't fall into this calorie restrict. I mean, eat the healthy foods because they're good for you, but don't look at exercise as only a way to get skinny. I think that's just the society that I grew up in. But look at exercise as a way to make you strong and to take care and be kind to your body. So, versus cardio as the only thing that I ever thought was acceptable, I wish I had focused in at a younger age on weight training and yoga and really working on strengthening my body. So these are things that I would go back in time and tell my younger self. A lot of them are taking care of me, but here's the thing. Science supports that these things actually matter to your fertility. And the things that you do when you're younger matter when you're older because you're born with all the eggs you're ever going to have in your ovary, and they sit there until you ovulate. So they absorb the wear and tear of your life, and that wear and tear impacts our proteins and their stability, and it causes chromosome abnormalities inside our eggs. We know this because the older you get, the more abnormalities you're going to have in your eggs. So these changes that you can make at a younger age really can impact you later on. On that, I do have a course that I do want to announce. I'm so excited. This has been years in the making. It's the Enhance Your Natural Fertility program. It is going to be so amazing. It includes 10 different modules, deep dive into understanding your body and your fertility and the science behind it all. It also includes a private community where I can answer your questions, monthly office hours. It's going to be so amazing. So you can click on the link below, nataliecrawfordmd.com. You can go to and learn more about the course. But on August 8th, it launches and the price will increase by over $100. So I'd love for you to get in at the lowest possible price if you want to learn more about your body and your fertility. As always, you can follow along on Instagram at Natalie Crawford MD or TikTok, and you can check out the As a Woman podcast, Fertility, Hormones, and Beyond to learn more. Thanks, friends.